I have to change my duvet after this.
Breach socks.
How are you wearing socks?
Shout out to Breach.
You should take your socks
Shout out
off.
to Breach.
Shout out Contendant.
Welcome to the Fifth Unit podcast. Welcome, Julies. Welcome to Fifth Unit podcast, episode 4. Today we have a scouse with us, Edan, Hoye,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about newest Fifth Unit member and competitions that we all took part in over the weekend at Nova.
Not all.
Three of us did,
But we also had Scruffy Camp.
which you did take part in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a few of them. Yeah.
So what's your take now after doing competitions? Your view, so this quick intro with Ethan. If you didn't know, we've got a new athlete, Ethan.5thunit.
Otherwise
added him.
known as Big Eth.
Others known as Big Eth, Big E, Long Shlong.
Long schlong.
You don't know.
Long schlong out here. Man with the big cock.
And his intro video should be coming soonish.
Yeah, a few weeks I think.
Yeah, a few weeks his intro video is coming out, so keep your eyes peeled.
For that bad boy.
It's cool. He's basically been a part of it for ages. Like,
Yeah.
I think when we so we introed him in, or like asked him like officially or whatever at the Scruffy Camp the other weekend, and he said. On who was it, Dodds and all that lot were basically saying that I thought he was in it anyway.
Yeah.
That's all. I had no idea
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So it's that sort of scenario. But yeah, it's cool to like actually like, have him in
Fun, yeah.
proper. Yeah, yeah.
If you haven't seen the photo as well, we got like a £4 glass bottle of cider, drew the Fifth Unit logo on it, and then proposed to him. Saying,
Yeah.
We used his he chose a song for his competition run, his star run at the Scruffy Camp. We put that on and like slowly like drip fed everyone into a circle around him, and then just like asked him. And it was
You know,
so
I was like away
good.
in the back.
Huh?
I didn't see any of it.
Did you not?
No.
Oh.
Everyone just like came in and I was like, oh, I'll just, you know, awkward moves. Like, I guess I'll just stand at the back. And then like, after I just went over to Ethan and I was like, hey man.
Sweet handshake.
Yeah, little handshake like, yeah, welcome.
Mm.
That was cool though.
No, it's been a long time
That was really
coming.
funny. I just found it funny that I was like right at the back and like all this like people that like, I don't know, maybe don't know him as well, were just like there like with him.
I probably shoved my way to the front. I was like,
Yeah, but
I
you
was
two
going
like
to be there.
the main feature. You had the ball and
Yeah,
then
you had the ball.
you were like
Mm.
the big man on campus.
I just wanted a hug
Oh,
Yeah.
really quickly.
You were just feeling down to like, oh, I might as well get that hug.
Get in the hug first before
Fair
the
play.
sweaty boys hug him.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
that. I feel that. Too many heads.
But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Ethan.5thunit on Instagram. Video coming soon.
Also, lastly, before we get in, I think it's, in case it's not immediately obvious, it's currently the hottest day of the year, hence the toplessness and the sweatiness and everything else that's disgusting that you see right now.
I am perfectly fine.
I'm alright, to be fair.
I'm
I don't
done.
know.
I
I'm
don't know
actually
how-
alright.
You're wearing trousers.
Yeah, but I'm alright.
What's wrong with you?
Mm.
We might have to put some subtitle translations up for Eden.
Yeah.
He's scouse and...
And then all the scouts be watching, but like, he doesn't sound very scouse.
Who's scouse?
Because you're an imposter. You're not even scouse.
Nah.
Michael from
Fucking-
Love Island will watch this.
Should I do some background for me?
Go on, go.
go on, yeah,
Give us the
go
Eden
on.
intro.
My name is Edan. I've been training for about 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright.
April
really.
2015 I started.
Cute.
And then I started coaching about November 2015.
Very quick turnaround.
And that's about it.
Well,
That was
also,
brilliant.
you're not actually scouse.
No, born in the Isle of Man, innit?
Where is the Isle of Man?
In between
Bit
Ireland and
geography.
Liverpool.
Alright.
So they decided to nip on over to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Them stair spots are a bit too inviting, eh?
Nah.
No.
Were you training before you moved to Liverpool?
Nah. I was like 5, innit?
Alright. Have you ever trained in the Isle of Man?
Nah.
No.
You ever been back?
Yeah, it's a shithole.
That's where Will Sutton's from, isn't
Yeah.
it?
No, it's like, it's beautiful on like a day like today, but like, the moment it's not perfectly sunny, it's just a shithole. And everyone's inbred.
Like Blackpool.
But worse.
Ooh, yikes.
and hilly. Imagine a more
Sorry
hilly,
to everyone
shitter
that lives in
Blackpool.
Isle of Man or Blackpool.
Yeah, that was plucked out of nowhere. I have nothing against Blackpool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been? No.
Nah.
I have. I quite liked Blackpool when I went. I went for the firework display there at like New Year's, and I went to the theme park there
There are
for like
spots.
my 13th birthday.
Spots?
I don't know. I wasn't training when I was 13,
Fair
and I was.
Didn't have that
Whenever
sweet PK
someone
vision.
says they've been somewhere, I'm like, spots? That's like my instant reaction. Even like Hannah, I'm like, spots?
You know what's got the best spots in the world?
Don't say Liverpool.
Liverpool.
False.
False accusations there.
Um,
He tried to argue that Liverpool, yesterday, that Liverpool had a spot on par with Madrid.
He said that.
He said that.
That came out his mouth.
You have a
honestly.
spot on par with
No,
Tres Cantos.
I said the trip. If you did a trip to Liverpool, it'll be on par with the trip to Madrid.
Nah, Madrid's the best trip I've ever been on in my
Nah.
life.
Nah.
I went away for a year. It was shit in comparison to Madrid.
3 days in Madrid.
It was
It's
the
like-
best.
If you
That
come
was
Liverpool,
an
you'll have a better
insane
time in
3
Liverpool than
days.
you will Madrid.
I can promise you that's not true.
I can guarantee you it is true though.
I can also promise you that if it is true, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I said you'll never tell me.
I said I'd tell you.
I'll
I said
tell you.
I'd give you a firm handshake, but like, fair play, mate. Liverpool was sick.
All
A
right.
handshake from Chris means a lot.
Yeah.
I've already had one.
He
He has
picks
had
and
one. He's done
chooses.
some tricks, and I'm like, fair play.
Yeah.
I've had two actually.
Yeah.
You keep record.
Solid.
Oh, that's one of the old.
They'll notch on the old belt.
I need it.
Chris approval rating.
Mm.
When you get to 10, you get like sweet.
It's good for the ego.
What when was like the first one? I feel like one was in Copenhagen, but you did a trick, and I was like, that was sick.
No, I think the first one was the Yachty and Bounce.
Oh yeah,
That was the
yeah,
first
yeah.
one.
I was like, fair play for sorting that shit. And then what was the other one?
I don't remember that.
That
That's why I
was
said
Underground.
one originally. You said it was multiple,
I thought it was multiple.
so I just rolled with you.
I feel like I gave you one at Scruffy Camp for probably doing a trick that I was like, fair play. Didn't think you could do that.
Comp run?
Huh?
The comp run?
Maybe.
Which perfectly leads on to
The next topic.
competitions. Over past couple of weeks, we all actually have taken part in our first competitions.
He's done way more.
Be it at
A few.
yeah, you've done a few. Being at
Few
Scruffy Camp, which was a style and skill comp, and the following week, this weekend just passed, Nova City, which was the speed, style, and a skill comp, but it was almost an unofficial skill comp.
Yeah.
In which I think they're trialing it for next year.
I had some Chris
Potentially-
Harrison reviews for this Project Underground.
Yeah, as far
Potentially
as
the
I know.
biggest UK comp, would we say?
What, Project Underground? Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
gotta be.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But let's
100%.
I say let's start with Scruffy Camp. That was all of our first initiations, apart from Eden, into competition
I was ill.
in
I think-
parkour.
It was bad.
A lot of people have asked about Scruffy Camp because they don't know what it was.
So here's
So,
the thing.
Explanation for it.
Here's the thing. Scruffy Camp was this amazing little. It used to be that like jam thing that you guys went to last year, and then there was like one before that, and then they turned it into competition this year, and they made the event private still.
Mm.
And I said to Joe, I was like, why is the event private? And he was like, oh, because we're just like not sure if we want like too many people coming just yet. And I was like, I think because like Giles and Keelan on their podcast were like, if we'd known about it, we might have come, but they didn't know. They felt like it was just like a mate sort of thing. And I was like, you should have like I feel like they should. This was the time to be like, let's just see how many people can get in, and then we can like, because they want to do something really big next year. So they should have gauged how many people they would get just from like a one-off thing, and then see how that goes like for next year. You know what I mean?
I don't think they could have physically had that many people
I
because control
think it
movement's small as anyway.
I'm thinking Bloggy's
Yeah, but you
house
just
as well.
maintain
and
it.
Bloggy's house.
Yeah, but he put on the event. They're like, not everyone's gonna be able to stay.
Yeah, not even all of us were
Yeah,
supposed to.
yeah, we weren't supposed to stay there.
We're fine.
Well, because we happened to be really good friends with them, but like they were like
Yeah.
on the event it was like 4 people can stay at my house. It was only supposed to be 4, and then
Yeah.
everyone stayed there.
But then I think it was good that they kept it private for now because I think this was a tester. To
I don't know. I
see
just
how,
think it could have. I just think it could have done really well.
because this is the first time they'd organised anything. Last year was let's all have a piss up round Dodd's house in Penzance. It wasn't an organised thing. It was let's go for a drink, everyone come over and then we'll jam as well. But this
Yeah.
year was like, I think they should have kept it small so they could all, especially Bloggy, test out to see if they can organise it. Because if you had too many, I think it could have got quite shit, which would have made people not want to come back next year. But because there's only heard positive feedback, next year they want to do like a bigger thing. I'm not going to go into details to what it is to keep it as a bit of a surprise, but they want it to be like.
So you've been going around telling everyone in person.
Tell you in person, that's fine. I'm going to put it on online. Zip shut.
All it sounds incredible.
Yeah,
like,
it's
everything
massive.
everything they've said sounds insane.
We
I
said
think-
we're
This
gonna
year was
help
fucking
out.
I think for
crazy.
me, because I've only met the Scruffy Boys as well once before, this was like a good introduction to it. But I think it was branded as a competition in Control, but it turned out to be a bit more than that with the training, the comp, just the general sort of chilling with your mates.
Yeah, it
and
was.
then the nights out, and then Scruffy Boys not just being a parkour team as well. They are just a group of mates who fuck around and do shit.
Yeah, I think it probably came across to you as like, oh yeah, it's going to be like a competition.
Yeah.
But like whenever we're with them, we'll go like training. We'll like be with them for like 3 days and train with them, and then like fucking do like we
But it's like
always end up partying.
there was a few of them as well who just came around just for the chill
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Which was quite cool. So I think it was good how they did it.
I thought it was really fucking cool.
Big shout out to Bloggy for the food, hosting,
Big
and
shout
shit.
to Bloggy for organising.
Man, like.
most
Man-like
of
vlog.
that.
But I thought in terms of competition, it was run pretty well. I think with the skill comp, there were a bit of like a few mishaps there here and there. But then they ended up doing a format that I quite liked, which was the points format as opposed to like the knockout format, which I thought was really cool. Because
So-
like the usual, from my understanding of like NAPC skill comp last year, is that they do the first round, which is like they have a certain number of challenges, you have a certain amount of time, and then whoever does the most challenges qualifies, and then from there you then have a certain amount of challenges, and you do them, and you do them in a certain like and the fastest person to do them wins that round, and then the next round is you have 3 challenges and like 5 tries, whatever, and they're just fucking huge challenges.
The way, to people that don't know, the way they've Scruffy Boys organised the skill comp was you've got everyone trying there's like 3 tiers of challenges. Everyone tries the first tier. You have 3 chances to complete the challenge. You get an amount of points depending on how quick you get it. So if you get it in your first try, you get 3 points. Second try is 2 points. Third try is 1 point. And if you don't complete it in 3, you don't get any points. They had that tier, and then a specific amount of people went to the second tier, and then that was repeated. Then there was only, in the end, 3 people that got into the third tier, which happened to be Marcus, Chris, and Ed Scott. And the way the style ran was a standard style comp in which Marcus was judging. So what was the categories in the style?
It was difficulty.
creativity.
Difficulty. I don't think was
Steez.
creativity one.
Steez was the
Yeah,
thought
flow and
Steez.
Steez was the cool. I loved that. That was so cool.
Execution.
Execution. Yeah,
Execution.
difficulty, execution, flow, and Steez. Yeah.
And then it was Chris, myself, and Marcus took part in the skill, and Eden took part in the style. None of us did the style, did we?
No,
you
I
were
wanted
judging.
to, but I was
You were
as
ill,
fuck.
and I'm just not
No.
that.
Don't compete ill, guys. Doesn't work. I've still got a sore throat from them.
So what were your conception? What was your idea of competition prior to your first?
Before
Eden,
we-
you could give.
Before you move on, people have asked who's in 5th Unit Scruffy Boys. I've heard that as well.
So 5th unit is us 3: Marcus, Finn, me, Chris Harrison, and then James Harrison, Harvey Charlton, Ethan Knowles, and Dylan Knight, and then a couple of like exclusives like honorary members like Adam Gamer and like Dennis Rapson, who like don't really train but like they used to like be part of the group. And then the Scruffy Boys is, if I get them all,
Dodds,
Jack Dodds, Rufus. I don't know what Rufus's surname is.
long-haired Rufus,
Yeah,
Jack.
long-haired Rufus.
Rufus.
And then other Jack,
Carol.
otherwise known as Gav,
Gav,
Carol,
Cormac,
Cormac,
Joe Bajine,
Joe Williams, David Miles Cooper,
David
Bloggy.
David Bloggy.
And then you've got Finn.
Sol. Yeah, and Finn and
Sol.
Sol.
Brandon. Brandon's helping them out, but he's not in Scruffy Boys.
No, I don't think he is.
There's a chap called Will who I don't think I've met.
Australian, New Zealand Will.
Yeah, New Zealand
He
Will,
was there
yeah.
for like a couple of
Is
months.
Basically, you know a Scruffy Boy, if they've got a really scruffy tattoo, a Scruffy Boy's on their foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
how you know.
The way they work is they used to be, it was just a collection of mates, and they wanted a name to give to some videos, and I think that's the same basis that they have. Like as far as I know, Finn doesn't really train as much. He's a phenomenal musician. I'd recommend going to check him out. He's making waves as well, like getting record deals and stuff. And the other guy, Will, I'm not sure if he trains, but he's from New Zealand, and he was down for a couple of months, and I think that's how he met all the boys. Gav doesn't train as intensely. He's more into skate, and he's up in London doing his film stuff. And Cormac doesn't really train, but he's part of the crew as well.
He just drinks.
He occasionally trains.
Yeah, he
He
occasionally
just
trains.
drinks.
I feel like he's the parent of the group.
Yeah.
So it's looking after Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said this to I think one of you the other day, and without trying to sound too like grandiose about it, I think the Scruffy Boys and again I wouldn't want to like define them like I wouldn't want to put words sort of whatever, but it's like their almost thing is like it's more like a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
They're not like a team. They're not like a competition team. They're not like a it's not like defined like that. They're just like
They just hang out and they have the same mindset.
They're just like the Scruffy Boys just like
Yeah.
do their thing, and it's fucking sick.
Whereas we're a bit more straight parkour team. Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know who we are, kind of thing. Not that they don't, but we know who's.
Anyway.
Anyway, regardless, back on topic. Competition thoughts before, after, and Eden, you can help out with this. When was your first competition?
So I think I've done about four or five.
Including Nova and Scruffy.
So Nova, Scruffy. I've done an airborne one. I've done a couple like northern parkour street comps as well, because they're a thing. They've been around for quite a while.
I know they're a thing.
They've been
Everyone was
quite
like, I know it was the first one.
And then I've judged one as well in airborne for the kids.
Okay.
For me, I don't really like doing the speed, and then I've never really took part in a skill, so I've only done style, and I used to hate doing style, but I sort of did it as a way to test my ability. But then from Nova, the most recent one, I sort of like actually enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, at start, I really hated it. I kept saying, oh, I'm not going to do it again. Don't like the pressure, I don't like it being forced. But then once you get over the fact that I don't think anyone really cares, and if you go there to make a run and just have fun, then you'll end up enjoying it. But
Sure.
I'm not too interested about speed still, just because, I don't know, I just personally don't have interest, but skill I'd like to try at some point.
That was good.
On a good day.
Okay, so you've always had you've always like agreed with competition kind of thing, or you've always really done it. You've like grown up with it.
Yeah, I started with airborne, and then sort of took training outside. But like the lads there, I'd always been like Ryan was obviously one of the directors, so I've been around him, and he's obviously done quite a bit of competition.
He was in all those old school comps.
Yeah, so I've
R.I.P.
never had a
Shin.
problem to it.
Okay.
No one heard me saying R.I.P. Shin.
Yeah, really. And so
Got to think about that, but
what's everyone else's concept of competition, and how has that changed from previous to post competition?
I've always agreed with competition, especially given the nature of competition within our sport. But I've not always felt like a draw to it, like an attraction to compete myself. So the only time I've ever competed before Scruffy Camp was when we were in Missoula. Yeah, so that was Fool's Jam, and there was a little skills comp. I say little, that was the little stuff. They did a skills comp on one of the days, and that was run slightly differently. You had an hour across the whole space, and they'd set up, I'm not sure, was it like 9 challenges or something?
With tiers
9.
in those challenges as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you basically had an hour to go round, and you could queue up wherever you wanted, so you could come back to challenges, and they had someone scoring at each station, and you just went round and picked up as many points as you could over the hour. So that was kind of and that was a really nice kind of intro into competing.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't want to do it, and then Mikey just signed me up for it. Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. I had a really good time, more than I thought I would. It took me like 20 minutes to sort of ease in and just sort of like actually start committing into stuff. But then again, since then I haven't really felt the attraction, especially not going to the events. I find them quite intimidating. But Scruffy Camp was sort of said to myself, okay, so I'm going to compete and see what happens and just start enjoying myself. Cause it's just, I think the fact that it is just, or ended up just being basically a bunch of mates, which was so good, and that was so inviting, and that was a really nice like intro into it for me. I had a fantastic time, really did. Absolutely loved it.
And then clocked in at third place.
Clocked in at third place.
And won best bail.
And won best bail. Oh fuck yeah. Yeah, the bail was interesting actually. So, I was thinking about this the other day, that I was just wondering if that exact challenge was outside. Firstly, I probably wouldn't have attempted it, which is the first thing. I think competing, for me at least, it much like a game of stick or something when you're training with your mates, it makes you do stuff that you wouldn't otherwise do, and I found that pretty fulfilling in itself. For example, and again, the final challenge of that, the last one of the whole competition. Yeah, the dive con cat. If someone had said to me, "Hey, come and do this with me," I'd be absolutely fucking not. But within that kind of scenario, it makes you do stuff or gives you a little nudge and a sort of incentive to do stuff you otherwise wouldn't. So that was cool. But then I was wondering, had I had that challenge? So if I was to approach that challenge and I'd had all the preps I wanted and all the time, and not the pressure, would I have still bailed?
The lâcher.
Yeah. So it was like me and Chris decided to do it standing. Ed did it from a little run.
You did it from a run.
You did it from a run as well. So it was a running pre from the top block, the rail pre, and then catch, and then swing to lash at cat. That was the challenge, and I just peeled out basically and taken it on my shoulder.
Insight?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
You would have bailed even if it was outside.
Do you think?
Yeah, you had the rip callus and you had the things on, and like people are like, "Oh, I can still do it." No, you fucking can't. It's slippery as fuck.
Yeah, but I did do it, didn't I?
But it increases the danger so much more.
Yeah.
Honestly, totally. I'd never. That's why I don't put them on. Like, I just go with my rip callus, like with a rip callus. I don't put a thing on it because it literally, like, I can't. I'll just slip and die. Like, I'll literally die. Not about it.
Oh,
yeah. I personally don't think I would. Had I not the fact that it's outside of the gym, but if I'd had all the preps I needed, I think I would have.
Maybe.
I don't reckon you'd have even attempted it in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think you would have.
Yeah, that's.
I reckon I could have gone. Check out this.
You'd have been
Do you
like,
reckon that's
no,
the thing?
man
You'll be
has
like,
a rip.
no.
Yeah.
Not even for the rip. I think it's just something like lâchers. You say you're not very confident on.
I think you would
something
turn
you
it down
want
because
to
of
work
the rip,
on.
though. If you thought you could do it, you would still have turned it down because of your rip. I've like literally, we were in Copenhagen. I was like, "Oh, lash and you went rip." That was the only thing
Fair
you said
point.
to
Well,
me.
no, because
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
so close to sticking it on your last go on bounce, and like you ripped it then,
Yeah,
and you literally
yeah.
like stuck it, stayed on for a second, and then went off.
And cut clip.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Cut clip.
Cut clip. It's cut clip.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, I just mean, had I, for whatever reason, had I said, okay, yeah, I'm
We're
going
all
to do it.
ripping into Marcus now.
No.
No, not at all. But yeah, I'm fairly confident I wouldn't have bailed.
Yeah, you do have a set prep time.
Yeah, but it might have taken a lot longer.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was another thing that I thought of competing. Is it yeah,
Forces
like,
you out your comfort zone.
yeah, such a valuable experience. I think just being out of your comfort zone for a little while.
Be interesting to
Yeah.
see how you train in the coming weeks. When someone offers you or puts up a challenge or says, "Look at this," will you instantly go, "Nah"?
You
Or
will
would you
for
sit
me.
there and actually look at it and be like, maybe that is a thing, and would you try it, like the Daikon cat? Because that's obviously something you can do, but it'll be interesting to see if you start pushing it more in outdoors as well as.
Yeah, it's like a different joy. There's joy you get from training moves that you like and feel good and blah 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 blah, and then there's like a joy you get from doing something that you actually hate the entire time
Exactly.
and get it anyway. There's like a different
The
thing.
running pre.
Yeah,
You would have taken hours in that running pre.
I know.
Had you not had been on cop, you said stick it first time and did,
Yeah.
which is quite sick. And go on, Chris. What's your before and after concept of competition and?
Always thought competition was sick. Never thought, like, I was literally never like, don't do competition. I was always like, it's fucking sick. Like the idea for me is like, someone in the pressure situation and they do something fucking crazy and I just lose my shit. If you watch me like watching anyone at a competition, I just go mental. Like even like
little Donny.
I just like went crazy.
Mini fridge.
Nah, just this little geezer.
Oscar?
Fucking
Was his name Oscar?
Yeah, Oscar. His name
Oscar from TK.
Yeah,
Long
yeah.
t-shirt.
I'm close to following him on Insta.
Did a ginger
He's
flip
so
in
sick.
his run.
Highest ginger flip I've ever seen in my life, and I lost my shit. It was so sick. But yeah, I've always felt that way.
Everyone lost it with Joe's run, I think. And so when Ed finished, biggest loser at Project was when Joe did the front flip, and then when Ed finished.
Yeah, I don't know. I never. Yeah.
Mine was a kid doing. Mine was Oscar.
Yeah, the kid doing the ginger
My voice,
flip.
I had went down an octave for like 3 days after coming back from that competition.
I lost mine for a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fully. I was just like screaming. It was sick.
It was fucking crazy.
No, I was against competition
Right?
back in the day. Yeah.
Loser.
No, because people put up very valid points of apparently a few studies have shown that competition halts / stops grassroots the build up of grassroots like training because it becomes intimidating, like such as to give an example, I don't know if this is true, I'm just trying to give a concept of boxing, and then you're thinking, you go into it, if all you've ever seen is pro boxing or Olympic boxing or like Anthony Joshua fight, you think you're not even going to attempt to try the fights at an amateur level or even get involved because you think it's that hard and you think you have to train that hard and you can't pace yourself, and if you're going to fight you've got to be the best.
Depends on your mentality, I think.
Yeah, but apparently there was a study that showed that. I can't quote that, that's what I was told during my level 2 qualification, and that's why I wasn't opposed to it completely, but that's what put me on the back foot. I was concerned because parkour was so new, I didn't want it to be like that. And then everyone had the whole hoo-ha when Red Bull got involved with Art of Motion, like Red Bull's an energy drink.
Every single Art of Motion.
Yeah, but it's an energy drink company that's not exactly the healthiest, being sponsoring this thing, and we're all supposed to be super athletes and blah 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 blah, and supposed to be super healthy. So I've always been on the back foot until recently, like past few years, because of how I believe parkour competitions differ from any other competition I have ever been a part of in my life, in the fact that you literally sit there and help each other out. It's not actually about winning, it's about trying to get as like most enjoyment and helping people out with the run. You've got people like Ed Scott and Joe who aren't.
They have Tom Taylor helped them throughout this.
Yeah.
Like you walked around with them.
But they are competition athletes, so to speak. And they'll keep to themselves, but that's not from a sense of they don't want you to win. It's a sense of that's just their mentality. So you could go up.
Game face.
You could go up to Ed before he gets stressed and say, "What's your run?" And instead of keeping his tactic quiet and sitting there and being like, "Oh no, they might steal something," he will tell you his run, which is completely different from any other sport I've ever been a part of. I've ever known. You always, like in football, you're always trying to better the other team, and you won't give them a help or
but
won't
then
give them a
again,
hint.
it's not like you're going to be able to do what he's doing in his run.
No, but there were people that are.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's actually okay, and as long as grassroots movements still keep growing and make sure the sport is totally inclusive, stuff like Nova do the 12s and the 16s and the adults, and they still run all these sessions and they do massive invites and they show everyone that it's not pro athletes. And they had
the women are.
Yeah, they had people that have never competed before like us, or they have individuals that might not have been training for more than 2 years competing in the same competition, and it's not because they want to win, it's because they want to participate. And that's what I think is so amazingly different about parkour in that sense. Like I've never known, like the first thing I did when I was doing my speed runs was you know the Derby boys, Derby sorry, Callum, Cade, and that lot.
Yeah.
The first thing I went up there, it's like we were all looking at this one challenge and we just started talking about it, and then when one of us found out an easier way to do something, we all said, "Oh, do that," or try and change that. Do you reckon you could put a foot there? Do you reckon you do that? Instead of sitting there hush hush with my little like, cunt. my little with my little.
If you can't see, Finn just spilled coffee all over his chest. Well, that's disgusting. We'll see that.
We all helped each other out.
Yeah, we all helped each other out, which
I
is.
didn't keep myself to myself.
I have something to add to
And
that.
you failed because of it.
Yeah.
Another example. Another example is, and I think this is a valid example, not because me and Chris are necessarily like top of the game, but because
I am.
I personally will find if I'm competing in a not within parkour, but if I'm with anything, just in a sort of competitive nature, I find my part of the tactic is keeping it to yourself. But for example, one of the skill challenges at the Scruffy Camp was this sickeningly droppy plyo.
Oh yeah.
And me, Chris, and Ed had found a slightly smaller pre that basically was a nice prep for the distance. And Chris did the plyo or sent the plyo before I did, and stuck the plyo as well. And I remember I just was stood on that middle block before I had my first attempt, and I was just like asking him how it compared to the pre and stuff. And there's just like just in the middle of the competition, like it's that sort of. It's like I think it's part that sort of nature is like ingrained into the sport rather than.
Yeah, I mean I do that for
which is
anything.
so yeah.
There's no. If someone asks me, there's no way I'd be like, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's because I'm not a dick.
But then if it's in like I don't know if it was in something, if I was competing in something else, I don't know that I would have that response. It's just something about the sort of culture of parkour and yeah.
That's why I think it differs so much. That's why I changed my opinion on it. Because everyone does seem to help each other out, which I think is rare.
I'd be interested to see how much just earlier you were saying about how seeing people compete at the highest level could be intimidating. I think you're absolutely right, but I wonder how much of a percentage it is people would feel intimidated and how much people would be like by seeing people at the absolute top of the game, the best in the world, how that's going to be inspiring instead. Like, I mean, if you take football, one of the reasons football is so, it's almost like what do you call it, exponential growth, I think, to a certain point. Football's now at a scale when it's so big. It's got such an audience. It's the standard is so incredible that that's what inspires a lot of people. So it's just growing exponentially. So I wonder where the sort of percentage line is of people that are.
I reckon that would happen if it got brought
I'd
into
argue
schools.
it's countered that though, because the standard is so high now that it's almost like so I think 90% of my friends at school who were like, oh yeah, I want to do football, like that's what I want to do, giving up because there's just no way, or they feel like there is that thing where it's like for example in GCSE PE they're like, oh, it's like, I want to do football as my sport. You have to be so good because there's such a high level to get a good mark, whereas like if you do something easy like trampolining, not many people do like trampolining at school, so the level's incredibly low. So like getting a 9 in trampolining is really easy because you just have to be able to do a backflip. Whereas like for football it's like, oh, you need to be able to like do this skill and like play this many matches and like one and shit, like so like I feel like they've got to the point now where it's like, yeah, there are like people do get inspired, but you have to be like Ed, who like did gymnastics like from like 2 years old or whatever. Like you have to be doing that for football now, otherwise you're just not getting there.
Totally. Ed's got an unfair advantage.
Ed's crazy good.
Yeah, but then people with genetic anomalies.
Can I devil advocate your mentality thing?
Yeah, man.
Do you reckon, in a similar way, Instagram is like that? So like, on Instagram now, I could literally find about a dozen people who can stand in 7 or like do ridiculously big running prees. Do you reckon that's the same thing of either inspiring or sort of like not inspiring?
It depends on how people
mentals actually work.
know how they show it on Instagram, because there was a big thing, I think it was Callum showed a few of his bails or he used to put bails at the end of his videos, and like he did a big post about it, someone did a big post about it saying athletes, the super athletes do need to show themselves
Dom's a good
bailing.
example of it.
Yeah, you need to show yourselves bailing to prove that it's the hard work and determination. It's like the Snapchats where all you see are people having great nights out,
but
you don't see them like at work kind of thing. or you see the really
Or
rich
the
people.
fact that they cried on their night out and had a shit time.
Yeah. Or you
It's
see
just bullshit. You see the beginning, it's like, yeah, I'm having a really great time at Prees, end of the night.
yeah. Or it's
They were alive.
you see singers and rappers and people like that, like living this luxury life. You're like, oh yeah, I want that. But then you don't see the behind the scenes. So I think it entirely depends on how the Instagram they promote themselves on it. So people like Dom and Callum and people that show themselves doing 2 or more attempts or doing a bail here and there, I think that could inspire. But people that only show the biggest and the best and like this huge stuff with no progression into it, that could have that.
Yeah, I think it does.
That
Part
fearful.
of it is all down to mindset. They're like, there are those people who like will still just be like, yeah, but I don't think I could, like, you know, I don't know. I don't think I could ever get myself to that level, even if it's like, even if they're showing the bouncing and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
weird.
obviously, but I think
And those
it's-
people are just like, I'm gonna get to that level no matter what.
I
Do you
think
reckon-
they're different. though.
Going back to
It's not
competition,
the majority.
do you reckon
No, I agree. It's not the majority.
parkour competitions will get to like such a prolific stage where it's like 4-week intensive training camp, you've got dietitians,
People do it
sleeping
now.
coaches, like
They do it.
MMA for example.
Swedish-
I was literally
The
saying about
Swedish
this.
airwhip kids, and like there's a lot of American kids who are like training for competition,
Well, it's
Yeah.
like-
and so
it's
they're
squat
like
as well, isn't it?
they put themselves like through like proper like intensive like training, and Movement Powers
Because
program
Ed's
is
got
designed.
Tom who's does the peaks.
Yeah, his program's designed to
Periodization.
to peak during competition.
But then, where it's more like, even more like with the intensive 4-week before.
So it's only like proper MMA style.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
it just
But
sleep
like for
and
yeah.
like putting yourself in that.
Imagine weight classes and stuff.
I
Christ.
hope the sport never gets
Or
to
like
that stage,
style classes.
because if it gets to that stage, I think it's lost an
If you are
element.
if you are steezy, you're in a class. If you're flowy, you're in a class. If you're technical, you're in a class.
I think that'd be terrible.
It would be bad.
That'd be so crap. It would just take away the whole essence
'Cause everyone
of
look the
parkour
same.
being like as sappy as it is. It's like do what you want kind of thing. You're just training, but then if you've got all these like super intensive things, it's a bit too much. I think.
Okay, I got a
That'd be
question.
tipping point.
Debate.
Is this going to move on from that topic?
No, it's still competition.
Okay, yeah, sweet.
Who's at the forefront of competition in the UK and then worldwide?
What do you mean, a brand or like an athlete,
A company.
a
Storm.
company? So
like-
Storm in terms of competing.
No, so like Nova's Project Underground or
Oh, you mean the
Motion
competitions.
or yeah, who
Best
runs?
I
competition.
think
Go.
I think the most solid one in the UK is probably like Project Underground currently, but I also think they have an incredibly long way to go, especially from my experience there this weekend, like last weekend. I thought it was really cool, but I thought that it doesn't tailor well to the audience at all.
Yeah, we spoke
It
about
was
that.
terrible. Like honest, like not to be like it was incredibly fun, and obviously like I managed to see most of it, but
We had
the only
to
way
get to the top.
to watch a whole run, unless you're allowed on the course, is to
Sneak up to the
is-
top.
yeah, you either sneak up to the top and then like hopefully don't get told to get off, or you have to watch a live stream and then wait till they get in front of you, but the live stream's behind, so then they're in front of you, so you miss
Yeah.
shit. You just miss shit, and it's just I hate that. Like part of the reason I'm there is to watch other people, and like that's how you're gonna make the big money. Like you don't make the money by like just paying, like just athletes paying to go and then competing, because you're never going to have like 1 million athletes competing. You're going to have, for example, all the Derby boys dropped out. None of them competed. 4 of them. All paid to go, and they could have competed, but they dropped out because they didn't want to. And so they're now, the main enjoyment they'll probably get from that event would be the training, which there's not much of because of the schedule. There's like, you fit an hour in here and there,
Yeah.
then you're told to get off the course. And then the other main enjoyment would be the watching, and for me it would be the watching, because I can't, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, if I only train for an hour, I'm gonna want to train for the whole day, so I might as well go outside and train. So if I wasn't competing, then I'd want to watch, and the fact that you can't watch at a great angle just ruins it for me. I was honestly like, I was running around the court so the way it's like kind of works is there's a big like square, which is where all the shit is. Then there's the what's it called, the sprung floor, and then there's like the cafe area. And I was literally doing this just to see the whole thing, because I, as someone who incredibly enjoys watching parkour, especially like Ed Scott, who like nails everything,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be moving about like watching everything.
I wonder if an evolution would be something like a world chase tag setup,
Well, that's what
So
we
it's like-
said.
Yeah, that's what I said. I
We
said
said have it in a like a stadium.
Yeah,
where
I
there's like
think it was
bandstands.
nice.
I think the best thing they could do is to pay to get a small structure built on
Yeah.
the side by the sprung floor. You'd probably have to put something hard down over the sprung floor
They
and then
have
put
done
it on
it
top.
before.
And then from there you could watch from above
They've
because
done
the
something
front
similar.
blocks aren't too high, but they're high enough that if you're sitting on the floor you just can't see shit.
I don't know if you remember, they built a scaffy sort of rig to put judges one year, and they had an airbag, I think, maybe. So I think
Maybe,
they
yeah.
have done something with
I
scaffold
think- yeah, I
before. I
think-
don't know if you've seen it.
In terms of viewer enjoyment, I think the only people who can say they fully grasped
Chris
the whole
and Trav.
competition was Chris Elbaka, the guy who hosted it and like did the whole thing, and then like the people who were allowed to live stream, which we somehow blagged, and then the judges got to see the whole thing because obviously they're judging. But I'd say everyone else probably was just like, oh, I hope they come around that corner in a minute so I can see what they're doing, sort of thing. It's just luck of the draw if you're sitting in the right place.
Yeah, there's a few people we had to run backwards and forwards for.
Yeah,
It also depends on
about.
I think it entirely depends on the goal of like Nova. I think the best thing would be to bring in a structure. That'd be
for
cool.
sure.
But then you could also say that might increase the price because.
But
pay
I'd
for
I'd
that.
happily pay more
But
if the viewing experience was better. I
Yeah,
can honestly say
that'd
if
be
they put
really
it. I can honestly say if they put the money up next year, and then I went and it was still the same viewing ability, I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, why did I pay more just to still not be able to see anything?
Yeah,
What's the point? Like, not what's the
There'd
point?
have to be a
but, like, you know,
reason
it's
for
just
that.
yeah, it needs to be like I don't know.
it'll
So-
be
I found it incredibly frustrating as someone who fucking enjoys watching parkour.
yeah. But then also you also run the risk it's a small space, so you'd take out loads of the sprung floor area, so you wouldn't be able to use that. I think it entirely depends on the gym's motive.
I'm not
and
saying I
stuff
have
like
the
that.
perfect solution. I'm just saying that that's something they should take into account because I don't feel like it was taken into account at all, especially in the fact that I was saying I would like try and stand somewhere and they'd be like you can't stand there but I can't see,
Yeah.
and they'd be like and they'd just be like no you can't stand there. I'd be like you don't understand, like no one here can see what's going on, so what's the point in being here? You know what I mean? It was just
it's a
just
complex
upsetting. It's
one.
just frustrating. I think Airwhip smashed it when they had that fucking fat stadium and shit. Like
There
well,
was
fat
front
seats
on.
and then like front on you can see everything. Like that shit is crazy. And then even Art of Motion does it pretty well, where they have like the platforms and then their live stream is filmed from like different angles and shit.
Speaking of Art of Motion,
Yeah, their live stream and even fucking NAPC's live stream is crazy good.
That
Yeah.
they are at
Like,
the forefront.
They have the angles and
Yeah.
shit, and you can just see everything. And I'm like, well, I don't even have to be there to watch it. Whereas, like, because of the limiting factors of them telling you not to go somewhere, like Travis on the live stream isn't like doing very good because you can only stand in one. He's like, they basically stand on the
it's
top
on a
block.
phone camera.
Yeah, a phone camera on the top block where you can't like you can see everything if you're standing there. If you're watching on a phone, it's now like far away.
It wasn't even the Nova's live stream, it was Breach's live stream.
No,
as well.
yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
So no,
So,
had
yeah,
no
if-
coverage of
yeah,
it.
it was basically like if you didn't pay to go, you couldn't watch
But
it.
Nova, Josh was on the camera. Nova are releasing all the different things.
I want to watch
I've
it
already-
live.
I've
though.
already
I'm
watched-
Sure, you can ask them to send it over. And they
I've
will.
watched.
No, it's not. It's just live.
I watched
Yeah.
I watched the under 12s qualifier one, and it was filmed pretty well, and it's like it does cover it all. But I think watching it like that has no impact
Yeah,
on how it is
it's not
live.
the
Like
same.
watching that kid's
Mm.
ginger flip in the finals live was like crazy. That was one of the moves that happened to be like
It's one of the most
In a good
memorable
position.
things.
yeah exactly.
Just
And
because
it's
that kid was like 3 foot tall,
I
and then
know.
he was like ginger flipping a
Yeah.
story's height in comparison to
I-
me.
yeah.
If it was proportionally put, it would be like
Me doing a story-
a three
it's like
story.
That would be my massive advice to Scruffy.
'Cause it
boys.
It
was-
wasn't. It
it-
wasn't a 3-story. It was.
No, if it was proportioned to you,
supposed to be. It was like what 4, 5
If
times
it,
as
if it was
high.
proportioned to us, I'd say it'd be multi-story.
it would
Yeah.
be moon, mate. You'd have to palm flip the
Yeah.
rod ginger flip moon.
But yeah, that would be my main advice to like Scruffy boys who are like hopefully putting on another one next
Yeah.
year and like making it bigger is make sure it's visible.
You
Theirs
want
is
it to be
quite
a
well.
viewing
If they do it,
experience.
yeah, exactly. Like it just as a sport, it's incredible. Like the competition is incredibly spectator based. It's not like everyone. It's not like so. For example, kickboxing was like you had like so many categories and like so people only go to watch their like children do it. They don't really like and then like maybe the final fight they'll watch. And And so you didn't need to be able to see anything, whereas this is like only one person's going at a time, and it's on a fat stage, and they're gonna do the best they can do at that time. So you need to be able to see. Otherwise, you've either paid just to compete and then see yourself, or like do it yourself, or you've paid to just sort of be like, okay,
Done.
Good.
We can still talk. The mic's still working.
We had a battery fuck.
I can't really remember what you were saying before though.
I'll lead on. So, sorry about that. The battery died in the camera, so we had to pause it, charge it for a bit, and now we're going to get back onto it and slowly start to wrap this all up. So, when we left off, Chris was talking about how much he hated Nova City.
I didn't
No.
hate it. It was good.
Chris-
I just have some criticisms.
Chris was
And
talking about how it needs to be more spectator orientated, which I fully agree with. But let's move on to how do people feel? What's their personal?
How do you feel about parkour?
Do you like it?
Do
Is
you
it cool?
No like it.
No likey, no lighty.
So,
Oh,
what's your previous experience with competition, if you have any, and how do you feel the ones you've taken part in have differed in that sense?
Who?
I don't
Just
think
a general.
I've never done
I-
well in
I can
competition,
go.
so I can't really say much. Because what I'm clearly doing ain't working. So,
Yeah,
My-
Rachel did beat you, to be fair.
yeah. My plan usually is to just do one thing or two things I want to do and then connect them somehow. But then it doesn't work.
Solid.
Yeah, and I'd prep it a bit before to try and stay warm.
How do you feel when you're like
Just do.
competing? Do you ever like get nervous, or you just?
Well, I said
fucking
like
drum
I
the
said
bass?
before, I hated it. I don't get nervous now. I do like to get it over with. I hate being last in a competition. I want to get it over with as soon as possible. Go first,
Yeah.
then I can watch everyone else and enjoy it.
My main thing about mine, like, so I was like second to last in the Star one, and I wasn't. It's not the placement that I was fussed about. It's the like staying warm.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know why my muscles are so shit at staying warm. Like I just cool down really quick. Like I've said to you loads of times, that like if I just stop for like 10 minutes, I'm just cold again. Like I have to like warm fully back up to again start training. It's fucking long. So it was like I found it hard to just stay warm that whole time, and like because having not been to a parkour competition before, I wasn't sure on how long it was going to take till from the beginning to my one. So I was like, well, I'll just stay warm the whole time to be safe. But yeah,
Bad decision.
no, it weren't bad. It's just
Lots
solid
of
decision.
exercise.
Nah, calm. I'm
Yeah.
used to it, mate. I'm a big
I'm a gym
exerciser.
boy.
Do you get nervous, Chris?
Nah, never have. I don't care. So I don't care how well I do. I only care that I do it to the ability that I think I can do it to. So when I used to compete in kickboxing well, I was gonna say semi-regularly, but it was regularly as fuck. Like it was like twice a month, and I I'd win, and then like everyone would be like, "Why aren't you more happy?" And I'm like, "Because I don't mind. I was just like just having fun, chilling," and that's basically the same thing. Like if I won, I'd be like, "Yeah, cool." If I lost, I'm just like, "Yeah, cool." Doesn't really matter. I'm more upset that I'm more disappointed in the fact that I didn't do it to the level I wanted to do it. So for example, in the speed run, I fell off the thing, even though in the practice I had it 100% of the time. And so for me, that's disappointing because I didn't live up to my own expectations of myself. But I'm not fussed that I wasn't faster than someone else. Like, for example, Joe's time was 27 seconds, and I think if I had done mine to my best ability, it'd probably been maybe 32 or something. But I don't mind that I wouldn't have been as fast at all. I'm more fussed that I didn't do it as fast as I could have. If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I don't get nervous because I'm only just I just want to do it. Because to me, it's like doing the run normally without the pressure, just wanting to do it well. If that makes sense.
Same question to you.
Do you get nervous, Mark, still?
And if you do, how do you handle it?
I think,
I
you
do
know what's
get
weird?
nervous, yeah.
I get nervous more thinking about stuff. Like in the car on the way there. When I'm there, I'm fine. But I get quite prangy waiting for things.
I have that with big moves. Like if I'm like, oh, today we're going here, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, well, what if it goes wrong? But then I also start thinking about it, I go, oh, I'm gonna do this today. I can't wait. I get in that mindset of I'm doing it today, and I get really gassed. So it goes from nervous to fucking excited.
Remember the most nervous I've ever been was on the train up to London the day we were going to double it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
doubled it on the same day, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember my hands are fucking sweating on the train, just like, yeah. But then equally because of that, that was probably the the most chuffed I've been at myself afterwards because of that build up and the stress.
I was excited on the train. We got to Waterloo. For clarification, for the Kong dive roll, I was excited on the train, and then we got to Waterloo, and Harvey was like, "Are you sure you're gonna do it?" And then I got nervous because Harvey was like, not doubting me, but like, "Are you sure?" And then we got to the spot, and I was literally like, "I'm doing it." Like, I just saw it, and I was like, "It's fucking on! Can't wait!" And it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, as soon as I started prepping, when I'm in prep zone, then the nerves sort of go.
Yeah, for sure. You like clearing.
It's just the anticipation and not having the not, for example, when you're on the train, you can't reassure you of the things that might be niggles.
Yeah.
But when you get there, and it's like, oh, this is fine. That's not fine, but I can work through it. So as soon as you're in control, then the nerves go for me.
I always get that. I'm like, I want to do this, but what if this doesn't what if it's too big, or what if this is too big? And then I get there, I'm like, oh, it's all fine, can't wait.
I think it's because of that the nerves when we were competing at Scruffy Camp never really left for me, because I don't have that time when I can prep.
Yeah.
So it's you sort of the anticipation. They're reading out they say what the skill, what that challenge is going to be, and it's like, oh shit, I had blah 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 blah, and the things start coming up of what might, I don't know, what part of the challenge might be tricky, and because you don't have the time to go and look at it and test it and sort those bits out, whatever. I never really left that sort of nervous stage.
Yeah.
But again, as I mentioned earlier, that was sort of good and valuable, and I think that parts of that will carry through to training anyway, a bit of competition mentality. Yeah.
Cool. How do you feel the speed run? Were you nervous?
Not at all. I thought I'd be nervous.
Yeah, you were, mate. You were sweating. You're like, because I don't want to go first. I'm really, really scared.
That was me.
And I was like, I'm second.
During the skill comp as well. No, I didn't. I thought I'd be more nervous. I actually really wasn't. During the skill comp at Scruffy, they just started, and it was very nonchalant. I was like, cool, sweet, yeah, I'll go first, I don't care. Went first in most of those challenges. And then the speed comp, I was concerned that I'd be knackered by the end of it. But then I suddenly heard the music play that I'd chosen. I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go, I guess. Pressed the button, started running. I was absolutely fine off the bat, and I was like, sweet, just run. And then that was it. There was no nerves, no nothing. I was just like, oh, cool, this is happening. But then I hated my speed run. It was shit.
I only saw when someone put up a post recently that you came sixth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, but I hated my run.
Yeah.
It was crap. I didn't do the dyno that I wanted to do, which was the deciding point.
You shouldn't have fallen off. I fell off, mate.
Yeah, but that dyno,
Yeah,
that dyno was the thing that would get you time.
I didn't do
If
that either.
If I hadn't scuffed out that dyno, my time would have been better.
I think
But
we trained
Pip,
very poorly for a competition.
Pip didn't go very fast on several points, I noticed, but he got the dyno and the vertical pole, and that was quick, and that's what got him third.
Yeah, I think he was inherently fast though. I think it's one of those weird things. Keelan said it to me before, where it doesn't look like I'm moving fast, but then it turns out I'm like a chase tag. It was just it looked like you were going really slow, but then next thing you know, you tagged the guy. So
yeah.
So I think some people just look like my leg's quite short, so I feel like it looks like I'm going quite slow.
No, Pip had to almost stopped at one junction to jump to do the climb up.
Yeah.
So I think it was that dyno part, which I scuffed up, which I wasn't happy about.
Dyno
and then
definitely made it.
during it, I did a slide into the drop down, which is, I don't know why I did that. I did not have any intention of doing that.
Well, Pip was only 0.02 seconds quicker than Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was close. That was tight. And then Seb was a second slower than Noah, and he said that he wasn't happy because he did it quicker in the practice.
Yeah.
So he did basically the same time as Noah in the practice.
Yeah.
And then did it a second slower during the thing. I didn't time myself during practice at all, and I fell.
Yeah, I don't personally like my run because I could have done better.
Me neither.
I could have done better.
Yeah.
But I'm like that. I don't really care where I place. But I was annoyed at myself for being
that's
why did I do that?
literally
I
what I'm
shouldn't have done that.
So I've been compared to stuff like my
Yeah.
life. Just don't really care if I don't do well, as long as I do what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm not being so hard on myself though, because it was like a first time, and I'm not a strong boy.
I am.
So we got to work on it. But
Strong
there's no
boy.
nerves, no nothing. It was a proper laugh. I'll do it again.
That's
I'm gonna do it again.
You
And
said the
next
other
year
day-
I'm gonna win. Next year I'm winning
Yeah,
over.
all 50 in it.
Shit.
I'm winning speed.
Heard it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Watch it.
just gonna
Watch
put
it,
this
Jendo.
out there. The difference between you and Hendo was
10 seconds.
7 seconds.
Or 7 seconds.
Yeah, 7
Okay.
seconds difference. That's
I can make up that 7 seconds.
quite a lot.
Yeah, I've got a year.
Fair play.
Yeah, here.
I respect that.
I'm
And
getting
no
on,
stroke
getting on
the
the
last jump.
I'm getting on the
He
old Tom
did
Taylor
try.
thing.
He I'm still can't believe it.
Yeah, that was not a stride.
Yeah, it was getting on the old Tom Taylor program.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he forked out the money for it.
No, I'm going to. I'm still waiting for
Solid.
reimbursement from flights
Also, all the 5th unit are going to be competing
in a comp.
in a
We should do it in the Scruffy Boys camp when they
Cool.
do their comp. We should just get all the 5th unit boys to compete
Yeah, I'm sure.
because
I'm sure.
that's like our mates. We're
I
going
would
to
do
have to
Star
help
next
set
year.
that up
I
as
really wanted to do start then, and I didn't. So
well. Yeah, I might do Star next year if I can learn how to backfall.
I would have liked to have done a star run as well.
Should have joined.
Only when I got
Shit.
there and was watching people do it, I was like, oh yeah, it's not so bad.
But you're terrible.
And with that,
And on that note, we'll move
um,
on to the last section of the podcast.
last section is just really wrapping up now, isn't it? Just gotta. Yeah, I think that's everything we need to talk about. Comp stuff. We
What
gave it a
favourite
go.
fruit?
Oh yeah, we got to end on, as per podcast, we end on our top whatever categories we choose.
Can it be vegetable?
We've run out. No,
'cause
we've run out.
vegetables are not a fruit, you fucking moron.
We've run out of parkour categories to
Who
go
invited
over.
this guy? Who the fuck
So
invited
we're
this
going
guy?
on to your favourite fruit. My favourite fruit is
Favourite
apple. Classic,
Nice, that's a good one.
classic one. Go on, Chris.
Any particular?
Oh, Brayburn. Absolutely Brayburn. If you give me anything else, you're wrong.
My
Brayburn's the best.
my go-to fruit would be banana.
Oh, I was tempted with banana. It's a good
It's
fruit.
such a solid.
Because you can make banana bread with it, smoothies.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
versatile.
Banana serene.
Banana serene.
Unreal.
Saurian?
Mine's also banana. Straight up.
Nice.
There's just no question. For what you said,
Pancakes.
the versatility.
Yeah,
The versatility. They're good as a topping, an ingredient. They're just
Can't
Smashed
eat.
it.
Can't decide.
You got 5 seconds.
Your
Four,
mum. I like
Two.
watermelon, but I don't have it often.
Oh no! Oh, okay, I've said mine. I'll change mine. Okay, I'm gonna change mine. Mine's watermelon. I
You
will.
can't steal my
No,
one.
I will, without a shadow of a doubt, eat an entire watermelon by myself within 5 minutes. I've
Yeah.
done it. Jess's parents keep buying me watermelons. I
That-
eat them all on one sitting.
That
In 10
sound,
minutes?
that
Yeah.
sounds either like to watch, either incredibly like joyous,
Oh, no, no, no,
you're
no.
having the best time of your life, or it could either be the other end of the spectrum, incredibly sad, like it would just like.
No, I just sit there. I like get a knife out. I make a thing out of it. Sometimes I cut up shapes. Sometimes I just spoon out the entire like a big
No,
I
bite.
can
yeah,
just
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
you like
Yeah.
having the worst day of your life and then just like mashing into this
Pricks.
watermelon like
I
I wish I was having a good day sort of thing.
No, I'll be having the worst day of my life, and I'll have a watermelon and make my
it's
day.
like Ben and Jerry's after a breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Mine's
saying. Like,
watermelon.
yeah, just like scooping out the water.
Tears,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm
tears.
saying.
That's me.
I would enjoy watching you do that in 10 minutes. We should live stream it.
If you buy me one, I'll go do it
Yeah,
now.
we'll live
should live
we'll
stream.
live
Should we take it-
stream-
should we
should
buy
live
one
stream
taking
today?
turns?
Should I-
If you'd enjoy seeing a live stream of Finn eating a watermelon in 10 minutes, then put a comment below of what you think of Finn's new sporting haircut.
It doesn't matter. Don't comment below. We're gonna do it today.
Yeah,
So
we'll
you're
do
gonna
it.
watch. So if you did
Yeah, but
watch
it can't be
fair
any of
play. It
them
was
pussy
great.
shit watermelons, which are like the size of your kneecap. It needs to be like a big chunky
That's
boy.
a tiny watermelon. If it's the size of my kneecap.
The ones in Copenhagen were.
Ah, they're nice.
Fuck off! They were huge. They
No,
were
they
just
weren't.
normal. Yeah, they were.
Have you not seen a proper watermelon?
Okay, wait. I would say the biggest watermelon I've ever eaten is this
Like,
big.
it's
It was
bigger than
in
Royce's
Spain.
head.
It was in Spain, and there was this one chap growing them, and they were
Why
about
did you
that
do
big,
that?
and you could
Sorry,
buy them
Royce.
for like €5. So we bought it, and I had that afternoon to eat it because we were flying out, and I only got through half.
Does Royce listen to this?
I ended up throwing the rest of it on the floor.
Probably not. Joe Marks listens to these. Shout out Joe Marks. For some reason, you listen.
He puts
to
on.
these.
He doesn't listen. He puts it on in the background to be white noise
That's
while he does other
listening.
things.
I do that for the most.
That's all we are to people is white noise.
I'm happy with that.
I like doing white noise.
Views a view, innit? Am I right?
I'm dressed up as white noise today.
This is white noise.
Yeah.
Okay. thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the Fifth Unit podcast. Don't forget to check out Ethan.5thunit on Instagram, newest member. Got any comments, questions, anything like that, let us know. Anything we should cover in the future. Otherwise, catch you on the flip side.
Also, check out Nova City and Project Underground and every single PK comp because they're really
and attend
good.
parkour competitions. Even if you're just going to watch it and not compete, attend it because they can grow, they can get bigger, it can be cooler, we can make a ting out of it. You're done.
If you went to Fortlom and not to Project Underground, you're a mug because it's 40 quid cheaper.
And you get to stay there for 3 days, but you don't get lunch.
Fact.
And the SD card's finished.
Thank you very much. Hugs and kisses.
It's already gone, hasn't it?